When I look at LifeLock versus Complete ID, I see two very different approaches to protecting people like you and I from identity theft. And I think Complete ID is going to be a better solution for most people out there. As always, make sure to check out the video description for my latest recommendations, as well as list any deals that I have. I can't update this video as time goes on, but I can always update that description. Costco members know that their membership gives them access to quality products at a fantastic price. They're not necessarily worried about brand names, they just want a product that delivers on its promises. Complete ID is a Costco product, in case you didn't know. It's also a part of Experian. And a lot of people sign up with LifeLock because they know and they trust Norton. Having used 7 identity theft protection solutions, I can't say that Complete ID is the best option, but it's one of my favorites because it performs pretty well and it's a strong divergence from the old corporation first sales approach that stigmatized the world of identity theft protection. If you've been burned before, you'll surely see the value in Complete ID's plans. And if you're just being proactive, I doubt they'll scare you off from making a smart decision. That said, I do think you should check out Aura, especially if you're not a Costco member already. They're fundamentally very much in line with Complete ID, yet even more comprehensive. Their prices are great too, especially if you want to protect your whole family, your spouse, your kids, and even your parents and in-laws. But this video is about LifeLock and Complete ID, so let's get this David and Goliath story underway. When I talk about two different approaches to identity theft protection, what I mean is that with Complete ID, you get straightforward, comprehensive plan. All the benefits are included on all of their plans, and the price you pay only changes depending on the number of people that you want to cover. Which makes sense. With LifeLock, their plans come in 3 tiers before you start worrying about how many people they cover. And the benefits that their plans offer are really spread out across those tiers. So if personal information monitoring is your top concern, for example, well, you need to upgrade all the way to the top tier to unlock all the different scans. And their top tier plan is quite expensive. If you're interested in credit monitoring and related credit functionality, you'll need to upgrade to the top tier plan to unlock most of it. And if what you really care about is identity theft insurance, their top tier plan offers coverage that's pretty good, although not quite as good as it looks. But what you're getting on their mid-tier and standard plans is pretty much in line with the industry standard. So yeah, LifeLock wants you to upgrade all the way to the top, and then they turn the knife by renewing your subscription at a higher price after the first year. Come on LifeLock, get with the times. We, the people, are done with underhanded upsells. If you're gonna upsell me, I wanna make that decision because I have no self-control and I wanna splurge, not because your core product is lackluster. Now, there are some things that LifeLock does that Complete ID doesn't, but you have to keep all of that in mind with the pricing. To get a more comprehensive plan with LifeLock than you get with Complete ID, you're gonna need that top tier plan. So the way that LifeLock and Complete ID work, like any identity theft protection solution, is that you input the personal information you want to monitor, and they'll perform scans and send you alerts if they find anything of interest. In terms of the types of personal information they allow you to monitor, LifeLock's not bad. Their offerings are pretty thorough. I have to say that Complete ID is a little light in this department. There's still enough for it to be functional, but other companies do better. And this sort of theme is why I can't say it's one of the top performers of the 7 I've used. But again, it's still one of my favorites. And something that bugs me about both LifeLock and Complete ID is that they only allow you to monitor 5 and 4 email addresses respectively. That's not quite enough for me, and all the other companies I've used allow me to monitor more. With your personal information in hand, LifeLock will scan the public web and let you know if there are any instances where your information is available online. They'll show you where you can opt out, but if you want them to do that for you, then you have to pay extra. That said, Complete ID doesn't offer this at all. Aura and Identity Guard are really the best in this department. They submit opt-out requests with data brokers proactively on your behalf. LifeLock will also monitor utility accounts on all of their plans, so if an identity thief opens an electric service or something like that in your name, you'll get an alert. I don't see this with Complete ID. Both companies offer mail change alerts, so if an identity thief redirects your mail with the USPS to get access to your bills, you'll get an alert for that too. Complete ID offers criminal record monitoring, so if someone puts your name down during an arrest, you'll get an alert for that. You can get this with LifeLock, but you need to get at least their mid-tier Advantage plan to unlock it. And on LifeLock's top-tier plan, you can get home title monitoring, so you'll get an alert if an identity thief tries to add their name to your home deed. I don't see that with Complete ID. Of course, the most juicy aspect of personal information monitoring is the dark web scans. I'll show you what LifeLock and Complete ID find for my personal information on the dark web a little bit later in this video. But for now, I want to take a moment to talk about financial monitoring and a few little perks these companies have to offer. Let's start with credit monitoring. Complete ID will monitor your credit records and send you an alert if there are any inquiries into your credit file across all 3 bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You need LifeLock's top-tier Ultimate Plus plan to get 3 bureau credit monitoring. Otherwise, you only get 1 bureau. The reason you want credit monitoring as part of an identity theft protection package is that if an identity thief tries to open a credit card in your name or take out a loan of some sort, that alert will let you know something's happening. If you don't recognize the inquiry, it might well be fraudulent. And the reason you want 3 bureau monitoring is that if you only have 1 bureau monitoring with Equifax, for example, and the lender pulls your TransUnion credit file, well, you might not get an alert, at least not right away. With Complete ID, you also get access to monthly Vantage scores and annual credit reports from all 3 bureaus right within your account dashboard. They also include a credit lock to prevent unwanted inquiries into your credit file from happening in the first place with the click of a button. With LifeLock, you need their mid-tier Advantage plan to get access to a Vantage score, but like the monitoring, it's only for one bureau. The Advantage plan does include the credit lock too, as well as a payday loan lock, which is a nice add-on. But if you want scores and reports from all three bureaus, you're going to need LifeLock's top-tier Ultimate Plus plan once again. And even then, the scores are only updated from all three bureaus on an annual basis, although you do get updates to scores from one bureau daily. Then there's transaction monitoring, and most of the identity theft protection companies offer this in their baseline plan, but neither Complete ID nor LifeLock do. You can get it by upgrading to LifeLock's mid-tier Advantage plan though. Transaction monitoring allows you to link your bank account and credit cards to view financial activity all in one dashboard. You can also set transaction thresholds to receive alerts of any transactions over the limit you specify, so if something looks out of place, you can track it down fast. With LifeLock's top-tier Ultimate Plus plan, you can monitor your investment accounts too. Then just a few quick perks. Both companies will allow you to link your social media accounts so you can get alerts if your posts take a turn for the inappropriate. Now maybe that means you gotta tone down your frustration with all those entitled cats riding on vacuum robots like royalty, but more likely it's an indication that someone has taken over your accounts and used them for malicious purposes. But just a heads up, with LifeLock, you'll need their top-tier Ultimate Plus plan to unlock this. Complete ID offers a password manager, and while LifeLock doesn't offer one directly, Norton has one free for anyone to use. But while Complete ID offers a VPN, this is a standalone product for Norton, so you won't find one in your LifeLock plan. And that leaves us with dark web monitoring, so let's see how LifeLock and Complete ID fare in the great unknown. Whenever I use an identity theft protection solution, I make sure that I input the same personal information across all the monitoring platforms. This allows me to compare the performance of their monitoring, dark web included, on an even playing field. For companies like LifeLock and Complete ID that don't accommodate all of my email addresses, I selectively omit addresses that don't turn up dark web hits on any of the other platforms. So what do LifeLock and Complete ID find for my personal information on the dark web? Luckily for me, it's limited to leaked login credentials for various websites. In most cases, they're the result of a data breach. It would be worse if it was more sensitive personal information than that, so I'm thankful for the time being. LifeLock finds a total of 8 hits for my personal information on the dark web, and all of these are unique, meaning it's not just the same login credentials found in multiple locations on the dark web. A lot of times that would happen if the credentials get wrapped up in compilations, which are basically massive lists of people's login credentials all in one place to make life easier for identity thieves. LifeLock finds hits for my login credentials at sites like Adobe, MySpace, Dropbox, and Zynga. The last of which comes from my decision to sign up to play Words with Friends, with my friends who I've never met on the internet. Complete ID finds a total of 14 hits on the dark web for my personal information, and 9 of those are unique. So they're definitely finding more total, and they're finding more unique hits than LifeLock. Interestingly, Complete ID is finding my leaked login credentials to one of my Gmail accounts that LifeLock completely misses. And that's pretty sensitive, at least it feels it to me. To put this into perspective, let's take a look at how other identity theft protection solutions I've used perform on dark web monitoring. Identity Force comes in at the top with a total of 20 dark web hits and 10 unique hits. Aura and Identity Guard are tied at 18 dark web hits total, with 9 of them being unique, which is not surprising because they're using the same technology. Then there's ID Shield, which turns up greater than 17 hits total with an asterisk. Their interface won't let me revisit the alerts once I've cleared the notifications, so I can't give any more details beyond what I wrote down in my notes. We've already discussed LifeLock and Complete ID, so you know where they stand. And pulling up in Caboose is Identity IQ, which finds absolutely nothing for my personal information on the dark web. As I always say, there usually isn't perfect crossover from company to company, and one is usually finding some dark web hits that another isn't. But what's concerning to me is that, omitting ID Shield because of the asterisk, the only companies that don't find my leaked login credentials are Norton's LifeLock and Identity IQ. Talk about bad neighbors, LifeLock. So that's monitoring in a nutshell, albeit a rather large nutshell. But let's not forget about what LifeLock and Complete ID offer for threat resolution. If you go all out with LifeLock and spring for their top-tier Ultimate Plus plan for a family of 2 adults and 5 kids, that's an expensive plan, then you can get up to $5,250,000 in identity theft insurance. It looks better than that on their pricing page, but if you read the fine print, I'm pretty sure my math is correct. Please let me know if I'm wrong. That's more than the next runner-up, which is Aura. Their family plan covers 5 adults and unlimited children, and offers up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. Keep in mind, LifeLock's coverage is always bucketed into allotments for lawyers and experts, stolen funds reimbursements, and personal expense reimbursements. And as I mentioned at the top of this video, LifeLock's coverage drops off like coyote chasing Roadrunner off a cliff as you move down their plan tiers. And while neither LifeLock or Complete ID offer white glove fraud resolution like you get standard with Aura and Identity Force, at least with Complete ID you're getting an excellent customer support team like you get with most of these companies. The exception of course being LifeLock, whose customer support is absolutely terrible. Not the kind of thing you want to be dealing with when you're already pulling your hair out. Despite the fact that there are other options that perform better than Complete ID, it's still one of my favorites because it's quite comprehensive, straightforward, and reasonably priced. I'm not impressed with LifeLock. I think the Norton brand is carrying them more than anything else. Remember to check the video description for my latest deals and recommendations. You can watch my Aura review right here on this channel, and I have tons more reviews and comparisons of identity theft protection companies both published and in the queue, so stay tuned.